talk about, is your why big enough? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm trying to go live on Facebook. It's not working for whatever reason. And I'm about to not worry about it because it's going to let it go if it doesn't work after this. So I am chareseljosie. I am a licensed therapist. I am a women's leadership coach, and I am your insightful introvert. And tonight we're going to talk about, is your why big enough? Okay, so Facebook is not working with me. So I am going to call that a day. Is your why big enough? Okay, so I coach high women leaders to build your confidence, strengthen your relationship, and if you feel invalidated, misunderstood, that's what I want. I want us to build confidence. I'm saying us because I'm included in that. I want us to build our confidence to make sure that we're able to create the boundaries and have the relationships that we want to have, right? And so sometimes we end up inadvertently overworking ourselves. Sometimes we do a lot and we're not sure why we're doing what we're doing. So tonight, I want to talk to you about, is your why big enough? Okay, that's your decision. And I'm going to give you some tips to walk through to figure out what's your why. So if you got some time, get something to write with, get the notes in your phone or whatever, because I want you to write down these tips. Now, if you have been rocking with me for a while, the tips I'm going to give you is not something that I want you to go and do tomorrow and you say, okay, I'm done by tomorrow. Because we are talking about a foundation of who you are to build that up. But I do want you to look at some guides and see, what are you noticing? I am all about a mindset shift, and I want you to work to shift your mindset and to learn something more about you to get what you want. So what happens is we go on this hamster wheel, right? We're working longer, we're doing more, we're fighting, we're doing the best that we can, but it's not working out. But maybe the foundation is not where we want it to be. So I want you to learn and understand that a little bit more, okay? If you want to talk back to me, I love interaction on here. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Instagram is great because it doesn't save your comments on the live. Facebook, it does. So that's your choice. But every Sunday, 5 p.m. on Clubhouse, we have a Grown Woman Talk. Go to Clubhouse, search chareseljosie, go all the way down to the bottom of my profile, click the Grown Woman Talk Clubhouse room, join this Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be talking about how to lead through uncertainty, and I have my awesome co-moderators, as well as I'm going to have a special guest co-moderator. So love to have you in a space. I want to hear from you of leading in uncertainty, and also hopefully get some tips from us as well. So hope to see you there. So when we're talking about, is your why big enough, right? So basically, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you accountable? Okay? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you accountable? As we're going through this, I want you to already have an answer in your mind. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you accountable? All right? You got it? Put in the chat. Let me know. Say, I got it. Let me know. Okay. One thing I want you to know, when you talk about your why will get you started, but it will not always get you finished. If you don't have the correct why, if your why is not in alignment with that, and we're going to be clear about that, but by the time I'm done with that, you give me about 15 minutes, I'll be done with that, okay? Your why may get you started, but it may not get you finished, get you completed, if the why is not right, okay? All right. What gets you completed is your discipline and your routine that surrounds your why. So if your why is not accurate, if your why is not in alignment, okay, you're not going to have the discipline and the routine to continue with that why, because something is missing. That's that middle piece that keeps us on that hamster wheel. They're like, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm feeling stuck, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. Why? Because we need to readjust what the why is. Does that make sense? Okay, so why is this important? Why is this important? You have to know what you're fighting for. If you are a grown woman, you're a high achieving woman, you are saying, I know I want things, I have goals, I've been this type of person, you have to know what you're fighting for. And I'm saying you have to because that's our personality. That's our DNA. That's our makeup. Right? And sometimes we'll say, what am I fighting for? Well, I'm fighting to get this promotion. I'm fighting for this job. I'm fighting for this relationship. I'm fighting for my kids. I'm fighting for all these things. All these things that sound good. They do. They sound good. Right? But if it's not in alignment with what you truly want, right? Then you're going to be feeling frustrated. Then that's where the overwhelm kicks in. That's when the anxiousness kicks in. That's when the feeling stuck kicks in. That's when the feeling confused comes in, right? Because the why is not in alignment. Does that make sense? Okay. So then what happens? We try to do it all over again. This didn't work. Okay, this didn't work out on my job. I'm going to try this again. This didn't work in my relationship. Let me try this way. Right? We try these things again. Nothing's wrong with that. But if you're doing the same thing repeatedly, right? If you're doing the same thing repeatedly, you're going to get the same results. I want you to do something different. Okay, so just to give you an example, I'm going to go into, I want you to think about your why, but let me tell you how I learned how my why changed over time. This is a mindset shift that I want you to start thinking about when we're talking about what actually is my why. I'm just going to this is just my example, but I want you to focus on you by the time we're done with this, okay? So my why in the beginning might be say, I want to do this because I have kids, right? I want to have kids. I have kids. I'm pregnant, whatever. Kids may be my motivation to do all these things different. Sounds good, makes sense. Does anyone ever had in the past or now say, well, I'm doing it for my children? Let me know. Raise your hand, says I'm doing it for my children. I've said it, I've done it, and for a lot of reasons it's true, but I had to clarify what the it was. So at one point I'm thinking I'm doing it, whatever the it is, for my kids, and I'm thinking as I got older, do they even care about this, or is this going to matter to them? I'm going to give you an example. When my kids are babies, I'm a new mama, I'm doing all these things. Okay, well, I need to cook for my kids, right? I need to clean the house for my kids, right? I need to go to work and make some money for my kids. Just some brief examples. But now as I'm realizing, do I actually have to cook and clean for my kids, or do they just want to clean the house and they want to eat? They want to clean house and they want to eat. Who said I got to do it? I do it sometimes. I teach them to do it. I do it with them. I make sure they clean up behind themselves, right? But do I need to do it all the time? No. So why can't I have Miss Pat come once a month to clean the house? I don't have an answer, right? Do I need to go throw down in the kitchen every day to prove what? No, they just want to eat. My job, are you eating something balanced, healthy as much as possible? Is it every time? No, it ain't every time. We doing McDonald's sometimes. We doing piece of meals we call the buffet. What's the buffet? It's leftover food that you find in the refrigerator that you put all on one plate, and that's the Josie buffet. Enjoy yourself. It don't work well with your stomach? Fine. You at home, right? You at home now. You can use the bathroom, right? Throw a vegetable in there. So my why changed because I was not clear about what I actually needed and what I wanted. What I was focused on was the mindset. I was focused on the expectation of what I'm supposed to do as a mother. It had nothing to do with my kids, really. That was my stuff, not theirs, right? So my why shifted, right? So then my why shifted another time about, I need to leave this job. Why? In the moment, I'm stressful. It's a poor work environment. Now I'm not making enough money. All of those are valid reasons, right? Have you all ever wanted to leave a job because of the environment, not make enough money because you're stressed? Absolutely. Absolutely. I have too. Is that my huge why to keep me going? No, that's the why to get me started, right? But the why to get me going is going to be a different why. I'm going to tell you that in a moment. right? I just want to be clear about how we think about our why, but not realizing it may not be our long-term why. Okay, I said I'm going to start a business. Why? Well, I got to get out of a stressful job. I want to do something different. I want to start a business, right? Everything that comes along with that. Well, then the question is, well, why do you want to start a business? Well, because I had to leave that job. That's going to get me started. Is that going to keep me there? It's not going to keep me there. It's not going to keep me there. I think I told the story before. I signed up with a fitness coach, and his first question was, why do you want to lose weight? I said, because I want to get into the media. I want to get on TV. I want to be a speaker. And when I do it, I want to look and feel confident. And he said, oh, so you're not doing it for your kids? You're not doing it to be around longer? And I said, oh, if that's the answer you wanted to hear to make you feel good, ask me the question again. I'll tell you what you want to hear, but I thought you were asking me what my why was, right? Because the reality is, my kids don't care if I'm fit, looking whatever, walking across the stage. They don't care, really. You think they're thinking about that every day? No, that's not impacting their life. It's not my why. Do I want to be around for my kids? Absolutely. Is it my motivation to go and lose weight? No. Because there's other ways to be deceased other than your health. Unfortunately, right? It's not my why. This is what I learned to go deeper into understanding my why. Okay? This is what I've learned, and this is what I want to teach you, and this is what I want to talk to you about. So get your pen and paper ready if you don't already have it. This is what I learned. My kids don't care about me cooking and cleaning. They need to eat, right? What I care about and what I've recognized about my kids is that I need to pay attention to what emotional intelligence that I'm giving to them or that I'm hindering them from. Why? Because that's my stuff, right? I know that if I don't pay attention to that to me, I need to make sure that I'm in check emotionally, right? So what does that mean? I need to go to the gym so that my emotional intelligence as well, that I have some peace and clarity and that I know that did something for me so that I can then not take it out on them because I'm stressed and overwhelmed. Will I have stressful and overwhelmed days? Absolutely. I'm an imperfect sister, right? But I'm more mindful. So if someone says, well, why are you going to the gym? So I can have peace in mind so that I can have time to give to my children emotionally. If I don't take that time to myself, then I'm already waking up, starting my day rushing. Does that make sense? I'm already rushing. I'm already doing that. Okay? Why did you start your business? Well, I originally started because I was stuck in my job and I needed something else to do. The real reason that I learned about myself, wait a minute, sis, you have always had a go-getter mentality. I have never been a stagnant person. People used to joke me about how many W-2s you got this year, right? It's because once I feel like I have maximized my learning potential at a job, I have nothing else to give. You have nothing else to give me. Tell me how starting a business means that I am now learning something new almost every day about me. I'm also challenging myself emotionally to create more emotional space as my daughters get older. Right? So I like puzzles. I like keeping things going. I like keeping things moving. The business helps to check all those emotional boxes for me. Watch this. If I didn't recognize that I like something to move, I like to go, I like to do something different, I like a challenge, right? I'm just not a stagnant person. Watch this. I could get bored in my marriage. Right? And I can go and do something reckless or destructive and be like, oh, it's all you, and put everything on the relationship. But what it was is that I didn't recognize my real why. What's your why? Because you don't like to be stagnant. Because you like to be challenged. Because you like to try new things. Because you like to evolve. That's my why. All right? Does that make sense? All right. So before I give you your tips, I like to have my own thing. And then I like to Google sometimes just to see what Google says. So I Googled ways to identify your why. And I was curious what Google said after I already came up with mine. I'll let you know in advance. Hated it. I hated every last one of the options. I hated it. But I'm going to tell you a few of them. I'm not going to bore you with everything that I don't like. One was, okay, ways to identify your why. This is per Google. This ain't me. Don't put my name on this. What can make other people's lives better? Why is a motivation for me of what can make somebody else's life better? That's Google. Number 2, Google, not me. What did you do to forget about a time in your past? I don't know. Number 3, I'm going to give you 4. I'm going to give you a lot. Number 3, this is Google, not me. What did you like to do as a child? Don't these sound silly? Does he sound silly to y'all? Because it sounds silly to me. This is the last one that I wrote down. I didn't write down all of them. What would you like to do if you could look like a fool? Okay, that's Google. Let's move on. All right, here's our Charise tips about how to find your why. Get your pencil and paper. Let's get ready, okay? First thing is a mindset shift. Tip number 1 is I don't want you to worry about the how. I want you to worry about the what. I don't want you to worry about the how. I want you to worry about the what. Sometimes we get so caught up in, but how do I do this? How do I do this? I don't know. You don't know. I want you to worry about the what. We're going to go through this, but tip number 1, worry about the what. Because the how will keep you stuck. If you worry about the how, you will never move. You will never move. Because as much as we plan, life is going to give to us what it's going to give to us. Right? Don't worry about the how. For now, when it comes, it comes. But in the beginning, no. Tip number 2. I want you to identify what is your biggest fear. If you're not sure, what do you think about the most? What comes to your mind the most? What triggers you the most? What does your body react to the most? What is that? I want you to write that down. If you're not sure, I want you to take an inventory first for 7 days. What stayed on my mind the most? What gets you reactive the most? So as I'm saying this, the first people that come to my mind are my children, right? So I can say my children is my why, right? But is my children my biggest fear? Not necessarily when it comes to my why, but we can evolve that, right? We can break it down. What do I think about the most? My children. What do I fear the most? With my children, right? But I told you, as I learned, it's emotional. It wasn't physical. It was emotional, okay? Tip number 3. What do you do that you avoid? What do you do that you avoid? Okay? What's the fear? I'm sorry. Let me back up. Number 3. What do you do to avoid the fear? That's the number 3. What do you do to avoid the fear? Do you get busy? Right? Do you take on more tasks? Do you only do what's comfortable for you? Do you get frustrated about things that really don't matter? Because you know you are staying in your comfort zone. So you get frustrated because you know there's something you want to do that you want to try and you have not. Why? Because you are stuck, because you're stuck in that fear, right? So what do you do to avoid that fear? Right? So what did I do? I got busy. I would do something different. I would take on more assignments at work. I want to feel better at work. I want to not feel so stressed at work. Okay, let me try to work harder. Let me try to build in X, Y, and Z. Maybe that'll help me feel better. Then something else will pop up. That didn't work. That didn't work. But what was my coping? I did something better. I did something different. I kept going, right? That's what I did. Write down, what do you do when you are trying to avoid the fear when you recognize it? Tip number 4. What do you do to stay busy? What do you do to stay busy? What keeps you to say, I can't do this because I got to do this first? Right? I need to work on my book, but I need to go do these dishes really quick. But now I'm tired and I'll do the book tomorrow. What do you do to stay busy? So you're superseding one thing for the other. All right. So whatever it is that you're doing to stay busy, whatever that answer is, tip number 5, that thing brings you peace and joy because of what? Okay. So I'll give you an example. If I'm doing, I got a lot going on, I'm feeling frustrated, feeling overwhelmed, so let me organize something. Let me declutter. Let me implement some system. Let me do whatever it is. I don't know. Whatever you do, why does that thing bring you peace and joy? Well, because it keeps me moving. It keeps me challenged. It helps me feel accomplished when I do that things. Maybe whatever it is, I learned to meet somebody. I met some new people, right? It challenged me in a way that was comforting, right? I didn't do a huge leap. I don't want you to go from one bridge to the other, right? But I was able to walk up the hill to go over the bridge, and I felt good about that. That thing that you avoided, why did that bring you peace and joy? And then the last thing, that may be your why. That may be your why. So in order to understand your why and really get an in-depth understanding in your why, I want you to first is find the what. Second, what is your biggest fear? What do you think about the most? That's the second thing. The third thing, what do you do to avoid the fear? Do you get busy? Do you take on more tasks? Do you volunteer for things? Do you only do what you feel comfortable doing, right? That's not a challenge for you. Do you get irritable at the smallest things that really don't matter, right? Tip number 4, what do you do to stay busy? What do you stay busy doing? And whatever that answer is, I want you then to identify what peace and joy you find from that. What comes from that? And then that may be your why. So my why is why are you doing your business, Charisse? Why are you doing all these things? Well, because it has me trying something new. I don't like to stay stagnant. I like to learn new things. I want to step outside of my comfort zone and meet new people. I realize there's a whole life to live, and I've lived my life in such a box of you must do this, you must do that, go to school, job, work, all those things. And I'm just like, I want a life of freedom, right? That's my why. What's the benefit of my why? I feel good. I can give my children that emotional intelligence, that emotional space, that emotional connection that may not be my go-to because that's not what I'm used to growing up. But I know they need that and I know they love it. I love it, right? So if I focus on that why, then the benefit is my children. But they're not my initial why. All right. So I hope this helped. I hope this, but feel free to DM me or comment or anything like that. And remember, this is a process. You should not have the answer to all this by tomorrow at 5. This is a process of things. These are things that I've learned maybe over a period of months, maybe some years, that I've learned each step. And then I actually learned it by going back to reflect on how did I get here. In a few years, I'm going to go back and reflect on how I got here, right? So we're talking about evolution. We're not talking about a period. This is a ... So I want y'all to continue your journey.